September 4th, 2024, Clay Club Board meeting. And in attendance, we have Deb Harwell, Linda Halliday, Donna, I can't even pronounce your last name, and Mike Deal. We do have a quorum, we've got 3 of us, and we do have a lot on the list today. I'm going to try and make it as quick as possible, and I'd like to, if Deb and Linda have a few minutes afterwards, sit and discuss a couple of the items that are gonna be before us that we'll probably have to have further discussion with the rest of the board. Getting started, I'd like to approve the minutes from, what was it? It was June 3rd, I believe.
June 3rd, okay.
Yeah,
I make a motion.
thank you. And I don't think we need a second on that because it's just the board meeting. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And I just want to mention that Ron Camarada has agreed to step forward and take Shauna's position through the end of the year. And I just want to thank Shauna for all the hard work that she has done, and she's done a fabulous work working alongside Deb to get all our inventory figured out and ordering and making it a better handoff to Ron for that position. So thank you, Shauna. And
The only correction I have is not through the end of the year, it's through the elected year.
through the end of the elected year.
Elected year.
Thank you,
Okay.
through March. Okay. Clay issues. We are continuing to have people put greenware in the glaze. We had that happen again, and that was to 2 buckets. And here's the situation. Somebody on the glaze team, this time it was Candy, she spent 2 days filtering through that stuff. So we need to find a way to bring even stronger awareness. It isn't always the new people doing it. It's some of our other people who have been here a while, and we kind of forget, and you pick up a piece, you can always check the bottom of it, scratch the bottom of it. That's gonna tell you if it's greenware or if it's bisque. If you can scratch it, it's greenware and it doesn't go in there. So anyway, that's another one of those things that we're gonna have to think about. Is a sign the answer? Is there something more that we need to do training wise? I know that they're told at beginning hand building. Are we telling them at all other avenues like test-ins and all of that we'll have to follow up on?
Some people actually put their low-fired item back on a shelf just for storage until they can get to something.
Yeah.
And maybe they forget which
And
is
that's
which.
fine if they're gonna do it while they're working today and gonna take it tonight,
Yeah, but
that's
they may
fine,
forget
but
which is
to
which.
leave it there from day to day, that's not okay.
Yeah, they might forget which is which
Oh, good point, yeah.
that's all.
Oh, they're putting it on the greenware racks, you mean?
Yeah, where they're
Oh.
drying racks, it's a drying rack. And
That could
you know,
make
it's
it
one thing if you just put
confusing.
it there for a minute, but
Yeah,
then also you go, I can't remember what, I'm just wondering if that's
Yeah.
some of the problem.
that could be part of the problem, yeah.
And I think beginning hand building, the teachers, because I had 2 teachers that were really good at Pam Lake and Diane, and they really went through what you could do and what you couldn't do, and it just stuck with you. You
The
just
curriculum
don't do
is
that.
good, but,
Yeah.
and we'll just make Noreen a little more aware and,
Yeah.
and the beginning and building teachers.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, all of her teachers as
Yeah.
well. Okay, and on the kilns, there are some issues that we're having, and it's primarily around the fact that people are getting into making really big items, and that's great. There's some beautiful items. We have great talent in this club, but the problem is this: when they're asked to come and help lift it, they tell the kiln people, I can't lift it, I have a bad back. Well, guess what? So do our people who are kind enough to load our kilns
Oh,
for
I
us.
say that or no?
So here lies the problem, is we cannot expect those people who are kind enough to donate their time in loading and unloading the kiln to do this heavy weight. So that's another discussion point that I would like us to put a little more thought around, and Georgie wrote out a really nice little options, and we can discuss that as well. My thought right off is 15-pound limit. Also, I mean, right now it's very vague. It says if you have a fragile item or large item, the kiln person can request you to help load it. Quite honestly, we need to have it a little stronger, 15-pound limit going forward. And if something is fragile or oversized, that person will need to make an appointment with the kiln person on either Monday, Wednesday, or Friday to load that piece.
Okay,
Because,
so here's what I'm thinking. 15 pounds is a lot to be lifting up and lifting down. I'm thinking that's too high for our age.
right, it is, but that's with
The other person helping.
help.
Okay.
that
Yeah.
person loading it.
Okay, so.
Anytime
here-
it's
yeah.
fragile,
Here's my thought, is that if it's on one of the shelves and the kiln people are uncomfortable, they need to put a tag on it that says, contact the kiln team for loading and unloading.
I
And,
plan-
and allow the kiln team to set up those times, not when it's convenient for the person, but when, you know, like some of those things are taking up a whole kiln. Well, when everybody comes back, we're not gonna have enough room for
that's a
things
big,
that are this big.
that's a big problem,
That's
but
why
we've
I'm trying
got
to get
something
mine.
now that's about this big
Yes.
around and this tall.
Yes.
And we had a beautiful, gorgeous piece that came out today out of low fire, but that had to be a special appointment and had to load it. So, I like the idea, if the kiln loader's uncomfortable,
They
but
just
the
put a tag.
maximum weight is 15 pounds, and, that we are responsible to do that. Our kilns are not built for these big oversized items. We should have a walk-in kiln. They're very expensive, and then there are still some downfalls with the walk-in kilns too, and that has been up for discussion before.
Okay.
So, in light of what we have here and the volume of people that we have, 364 people, that all have to use the kiln, it is unfair for someone who is making a great big piece. They do have alternate options. If it's something huge and we can't fire it, they can go to Marjan, they can go to Wham. They have, other options where they can go and pay to have it fired.
Mhm.
They can build it here, take it there. So there are other options, and I would like to have further discussion on that, because I know we could really get down into the nitty-gritty right now on that, but it's too much to expect our kiln loaders to do that. We have a hard enough time finding people who are willing to do that job. It is a hard job.
Right.
And then to put that kind of pressure on them is too much.
So until we make a solid decision, could we just decide that the kiln loader has the option to put a tag on it right now
Yes.
and ask the artist to call the kiln team to make an appointment?
What do you think if we do at least temporary for now, before there's a policy in place that the kiln loader has the right, if it's too fragile, if they're concerned about the item, along with no piece over 15 pounds. Now,
Okay.
that is going to exclude things that are made already. I mean,
Mhm.
we're gonna have those people that say,
I didn't
and
know.
either way, they're
They
going
have
to
to
have to make an appointment with the kiln team to see when they can fit that in. And we can't have these huge pieces coming out and expected to be put in with the rest of our snowbirds on their way back. We are gonna have a lot of pieces between now and December. And those people can't all be backlogged because somebody's decided to create a new forest of a cactus or, whatever it may be. So-
Yeah, I agree. I plan to put my name and my phone number when mine's ready to go in. It's not as, obviously, not
Not as
huge,
big.
but it's still, I've been asked to help put it in. I have no problem.
Yeah,
But to make the appointment, I can't just show up on Monday morning and say, hey, are you gonna be able to put it in?
right.
Right.
I need to get it on the shelf with the note saying, give me a call, because I don't know who to make the appointment with. The
Very
kiln-
Right.
kiln team is different every day,
Yeah,
you know. so-
yes, it is, and that's a good,
And if they see it
that's-
there Monday, say, can you come in Wednesday, I'll make sure there's room for it, or Friday, or,
That's another.
so I will put that forward, so they know that I'm gonna help you, they know that.
Okay, so basically wait for a call from the kiln or whatever.
Okay,
Those are really good items that we can add into the actual,
okay.
process and procedures of that.
Do we need to make any type of a motion
So
at
I-
this point?
It's not really a motion, it'll be consensus. Do we all
Consensus.
agree that the kiln team has the right to say, I won't
need
load
help.
that, I need you to load it or help?
And it's a discussion,
And-
because if they say, I don't think it should go on our kiln, could you please take it to another place? They could tell us that.
So if it doesn't fit in the kiln, that's a piece, you
Right.
know, and they have the right now to make that call.
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay,
Makes sense.
so, I would like to give them the right to make the call on the
Okay.
piece.
Yep.
And for anything, you know, going forward, nothing over 15 pounds. And that the person making the oversized piece has to know that they will have to make an appointment with the kiln team
Okay.
to have it fired.
okay,
And I'd like I put a note on it, put it on the shelf ready to go, please call me with appointment time or something like that.
I should actually put a note out there now saying, I know I'm going to help put it,
right,
I keep getting approached, I'm like, yes, I know.
Because the processes and procedures are all gonna be finalized through the kiln team.
okay,
But I'd like us to put in some notes on what Georgie has
Okay.
provided us and
Okay.
then suggest that and, you know,
Okay.
going forward and see what she comes up with.
sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. The new clay B112 is here. It seems to get pretty good reviews. I've also ordered, it's a couple weeks out, just a couple of cases of a red clay with grog that sells for a lot less than the current red clay that we have. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see, when using the wheels, please make sure you turn it off. Monitors, turn off the wheels, you don't need to unplug them. We are missing templates from both the education room and from the back metal cabinets. A lot of the big, what are they? Clay, not clay, what was the white stuff that you made the?
Well, the
Plaster.
Plaster, the big plaster forms, a couple of them with our lizards and things like that, they're gone. And you don't take those things home, folks. What we have in the club is so that everybody's got the opportunity to use that. We have 364 people in the club and we need to be considerate of each other. So if you, by chance, have forgotten about it, stuck a form in your locker or something like that, please put it back out so everybody else can use it too. And the Air Force Base box, it's really tempting for people to go in and say, oh, I love this piece, can't I have this piece? Or can I use this piece to practice my glazing on? The answer is no. Those are pieces that people have made, and for one reason or another, they do not want them out to the public with their initials on them. They have donated that piece to the Air Force Base, and that's where it stays. Nominating committee, and I just wrote down all those little names, I'll try to remember here. Betty Cool is leading up the nominating committee, and Gretchen Waller. Carolyn is on it.
Caroline Bitterman,
Bitterman and
Laura Leo.
Laura Aleo, there's one more.
Shar Kuntz,
No,
no?
oh my goodness. Oh, Gianna. Gianna's on it, yeah, Gianna. Okay, so that is the team that is gonna be looking for our new people for the board. And I can't stress enough to everybody that if we don't have a board of at least 4 people, it has to be a president, a first vice president, a treasurer, and a secretary. We should also have a 5th because that's what our bylaws say, but the rec center without at least 4 will shut our club down.
I am rerunning, so that is not a position that needs to have, unless someone
Right.
really wants this job.
Very good. And I'm hopeful that perhaps maybe Ron will
Right.
rerun, I don't know, but just wanna put the word out there, so if you know anybody willing to step up, please let them step up. That would be appreciated. And, let's see. These other things are the clay CDs. I'm gonna pass that off to you, Deb,
Okay.
to include in your report, since you've got yourself, Norma, and Ron. And Ron, go for it, take it away.
Okay, all right, I'll start with the financials. Basically, in all our accounts as of, the end of August, we had $72,489.79. Interest accrued but not deposited yet is $1,682.37. Our CDs do mature next week. Speaking about our CDs, the best rate today that I found at Chase was 4.25 for 3 months. And then Western Bank has advertised 5.1 for 7 months. That was their 9/3/24 online rate. And they've consistently been just a little bit higher, so the problem that we have, if we switch banks with the CDs, we then get charged for all our deposits and whatever. We have to have a certain amount of money, keeping everything in the same bank. We have thousands of checks and deposit slips already printed, so that will be further discussion for the board as to what we're gonna do. So the estimated value when the CDs mature next week is $53,170.02. Our initial investment was $50,000. So since the onset of this, we've made $3,170.02.
Wow.
So
Perfect.
I think that's great, just moving money around.
Wonderful.
Cost of clay, our new supplier is Blick. They have a national account with Laguna for the B-Mix, and that's why the B-Mix is so much less. Their account is national for the B-Mix, but they don't have national accounts with Laguna for some of the other clays. Lynn has been working with them diligently to try and figure out, can we still get like the B-Mix, the brown 112, which is similar to the speckled buff. We've tested it. The only thing different, it has a slight bit less grog, same coloring, same firing, same reduction, all those things were the same, so that was good. So our advantage to using Blick is that we get free delivery, okay? Our regular delivery with Marjan last year is almost $100 every time we get a delivery, okay? Our disadvantage is the delivery takes a couple weeks, so you gotta plan ahead. You gotta say, in 3 weeks, I want 1,000 pounds of B-Mix. So I think I have good records for Ron as he continues to order to say, last year in September, we ordered this amount, in October, so he'll be able to take a best guess as to what we need so that we have it coming in all the time, okay? That's why spreadsheets are good. I know, I'm a nerd, okay. So in June, I think it was, we got a letter in the mail addressed to me, to the Clay Club, asking me to open a credit card, and in the Clay Club's name, but it gave no annual fee, unlimited 1.5 cash back, and a $750 cash back when we spend $6,000 in the first 3 months. So on our docket is already approved to purchase a new kiln. So we cooked it up. Lynn did have to make a personal guarantee on this credit card, so we will not be keeping it open. But we've prepaid for the kiln so we could get that $750 cash back, because we wouldn't have made $750 on that money anyway, and the 1.5 cash back. So it really brings the cost of that kiln down. And in the interim, we've used it a couple times just to save that, get that 1.5 extra off the clay and stuff we bought. But so anyway, it was a one-time decision to go forward at that time because it was a great deal. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so that's end of treasurer report, I believe. Secretary, you're gonna do education, and the report from Ron is from all the committees. They all sent me just a litany of things that they have done over the summer. They're not as active. The one thing was they found clay in the kitchen sink. We have to make sure that we don't do that. The cleaning committee has a bunch of new members and people leaving, someone's moving, so we'll get that all done. social committee Pirate Day on September 19th, which is also gonna be the birthday celebration. Note, the Christmas party has been changed from Saturday to Sunday, just because there was a confusion between the band and the rec center, but it's all set, Gretchen's all set with that, not a problem. And then the kiln team, we have to discuss, maintenance has done, I'm amazed at how much maintenance does, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
Maintenance,
much, thank you.
holy cow, yikes. I think that's it, on safety, they're working with Mike on the safety and the training and whatever to use that new extruder. So I think that's all from that.
Okay, and as far as education goes, Wednesday morning fun will be starting back up October 30th. The first one will be Norma doing a tear bowl. And we'll be filling in after that, every 2 weeks, the second and fourth Wednesday. And we will not be using the little ticket method this time, we're gonna go back to the first come, first serve. That seemed to work a little better.
And
Now, other classes are popping up. Glora's got a snowman class, I think pumpkin class, so Christmas tree, so lots of new classes are starting up now. Another thing I just wanted to talk about, and I forgot about before, is maybe somehow we need to educate the monitors and
I agree.
on clay rotation and a few things like that.
Yeah.
So if you have any great ideas on that, I've got signs, take from the right and the left instead of the left. The reason I'm doing that is we always wanna have fresh clay, and if we just pull from here and there, then something's gonna get left at the bottom and be old, and we don't want that. Okay.
and on the Wednesday morning fun, is now Betty Cool, Janet Smith, and Norma.
Because it's not a paid position.
Okay,
She can teach, she just can't get paid.
okay, so those are Tammy is stepping down.
Tammy is stepping down, yes. Okay, and I think we've covered most things except Donna has asked for some time, and so has Mike. So Donna, you wanna go ahead and give us a quick brief on what you want us to look at?
Okay, so, well, I've been trying to figure out, and it's just kind of a small thing, but, what I'm trying to figure out, members are supposed, that have lockers are supposed to come in 24 times, so I'm looking at and asking people just ahead of time, and it's listed that there's medical next to their names, medical or,
Or
Does-
exempt, yeah.
to be exempt, you know, to be exempt.
Over 80.
Well, so I get some phone calls back and saying, well, I'm a medical, so I don't even have to come in. This is for the 24 times because they have locker.
Mhm.
Oh, I don't have to come in. Yeah, medical to me tells me that you don't have to monitor. Medical, now, I wanna distinguish between a temporary medical and a permanent medical. So a temporary medical could be somebody who just broke their arm.
This is your thought.
My
This
thought,
is what
just
you're
as my
proposing.
thought,
Okay,
yes.
yeah.
Just trying to figure out, because if it's listed in there, and they all just say medical, I don't know one from the other.
Yeah.
So, I personally know a few people who are temporary medical, and I know personally a few people who are permanent medical. So like, if someone happens to have had a death in the family, broken arm, those will all be temporary medicals. I wouldn't have to get after them saying, you know, you need to get your 24 times in. Well, I have a special list just for those people, for the temporary. But then it still says medical under there, so I don't wanna just say, okay, well, you can't do this for 3 years, you
Yeah.
know? So, we were talking about maybe reevaluating all of the medical and then seeing who they are. I mean, I've led through 30 people, 32 people.
Yeah, I'd like to work with you and Linda
Yeah,
and go through that, of course, not here because it'll be a lengthy
Oh,
piece
it's
of
gonna be
work.
lengthy. We don't-
And look at what we think about temporary versus permanent, talk to Linda Connell to see if she's able to help us identify
Sure.
those in the computer.
Yeah.
And with that, also the possibility of taking out the temporary medicals once a year, every January, and saying if you feel you still have a medical condition, you need to reapply. Okay?
Yeah.
And I think that that would be really beneficial, and that reminded me that there's something else on monitoring I wanted to touch that I forgot about.
People
Oh.
backing out at the last minute.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, this has become quite the thing.
So what's going on, what I understand from Linda is that people are signing up and they might decide on Thursday, they don't wanna do it on Monday. So they pull their name out and put it on a different day and don't backfill. And I was thinking that we had some kind of trigger in there that would stop people if it was less than 2 weeks from being able to change their names. I don't know that we do.
I don't
So
think we do
I will
anymore, yeah.
I will talk to Linda to see if it's possible to put that in or back in.
Because I'm not even being notified.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not, when they take their name off the report that runs,
Uh-huh.
then I get it that somebody's canceled. I don't get it directly from the person who's taken their name off, I get it
Okay.
from, the IT people that generate the
Okay,
Okay, so maybe,
monitor needed at the last minute.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
so we need to cover that. I'll add that
I got it.
monitor needs, at our next,
Not everybody's on Facebook, so
meeting.
we write it on Facebook, not everybody sees that.
I know.
So anyway, we'll work with Linda on that to see if we can get that fixed
Yeah.
for you, and hopefully
think
going
it-
forward, it won't be such a panic.
Part of the monitor training too is that these people don't do that without getting a replacement for themselves.
Yes,
And if they can't get a replacement, get a hold of me.
yes,
You know,
that's perfect,
Yeah.
yeah, as it should be, very good. Thank you, Linda. Okay, and next, I'm gonna ask Ron to go forward with his information.
You mean Mike? Oh,
I'm
Ron.
sorry, no, I meant Mike.
Mike,
The other Ron.
Mike approached Deb and asked for some time today, and so, Mike,
Ready?
please, go ahead.
You know, with all this talk about the elections coming up, I got to thinking about it. And one of the things that's interesting about our bylaws is they limit the contiguous run of an officer to 3 years, basically. And then they can't run again unless they take a year off, and then they can run again. And I thought, well, that's interesting. I wonder why that's not 4 years or 2 years or 5 years. Well, I joined the wood shop a couple years ago, and the first thing I did was read their bylaws. And their officers can run for 10 years, and then the way it is worded, they allow additional years on a year-to-year basis thereafter. So in other words, they can run to infinity. Right? So I brought you a copy in case you want to see how that reads. And so that kind of gave me the idea that it's really not a rec center thing. The 3 years is something that the club came up with some years ago on their own. I started asking around with people who had been around for a while, and they didn't really know why it was 3 years either. And so I thought, well, maybe it should be 6 years. And that gives the club some latitude, some flexibility. And this seemed like a good time to bring it up because the elections are off for a few months off. So if we decided to make some changes in this direction, then it gives us time to get ready to do it and then do it. I wasn't sure where to start. So that's why I'm starting here is I'm just looking for direction. I'm really not sure how to dig in and implement these changes. And then my time at the next all-hands meeting next week is very limited because I've got an appointment. So I thought this would be a good place to start. I'll just kind of wrap up with my proposal and then we can get into a roundtable. This page, section E, is our bylaws that talk about the officer duties and responsibilities, term length, term limits, and duties. And so, as we can see, except for treasurer, no officer can make a run for more than 3 years consecutive without taking a year off. That's in section E. Under Article 4, officers. What I wanted to propose is that we consider making a change that reads 6 years as noted in the highlighted area. And so that would be the only change I'd propose, is that we move from 3 years to 6 years. There's nothing magic about 6 years. It seemed like the next reasonable number to maybe put in there and run with. But it gives the club more flexibility. And Lynn, you were saying earlier how important it is that we have officers in this club. And so if the club hobbles itself with these limitations, at some point you're gonna trip. It's gonna be a problem. And so if we have people who enjoy being an officer and like the duties, but all of a sudden they're limited by the term, that doesn't seem fair to the club. It's hard enough to get people to run the organization. So what I'd like to propose is that we consider 6 years. I'm not sure what the next step is, and so I would look for some guidance there. But I'm coming forward today to propose that we change the term limit from 3 years to 6 years. So, what do you think?
I think you have prepared very well. Basically, changing the bylaws is something the board has to do, but you're bringing this forward, and if you want to bring it forward at the membership meeting and see how people feel about it there, that's fine. That doesn't mean that a person has to stay that long. You know, if they need a break or whatever, they can certainly do that. They're not obligated to do it.
Right.
But the option is there.
Yeah, if you want to stay for 5 years, right now you can't do it. And if you're doing a great job and you want to stay for 5 years, you can't do it. It just seems like an unnecessary limitation.
Yeah. Okay, I understand.
So,
So your thought is not just president, but any of the offices?
yes, all officers, and we've already modified the treasurer piece, so that's a whole nother story.
And I'm assuming it's still has the ruling that everybody is voted on every year anyway.
Yeah,
That's
So if
correct.
somebody's in there and doing a poor job and they wanna get rid of them, they're still voted on.
So the only change, there's only 2 major changes here, and that is to change the 3 to a 6. All the other verbiage that refers to the need to vote on the officers, regardless, is still there. That's unchanged. The word terms got changed just because it was singular in the bylaws, and it looked like it needed to be updated to terms, and that's the only reason that got included there as a highlight. But the only change was change 3, make it 6. That's on page 11 of Article 4, officers.
Okay, very good, okay. Well, you've taken the first step in doing that. If you wanna bring it up at the membership meeting, we'll give you some time to do so.
Okay.
You have to cut out to go to a appointment or something at that time. So we will make you, put you in there a little sooner.
Okay,
Let me know how pinched you are for time.
I'll have 20 minutes.
Okay,
I'll need to leave about 9:30.
okay, so I will just do basically opening it, and then we'll ask you to step up.
Okay, sounds good, thank you.
We'll approve minutes and then Mike. Okay? Thank you, Mike, I appreciate all the work you did on this.
Sure.
Okay, and finally, I just wanna mention, every year I do my little spiel on, treating everybody with respect. And this year is an election year. And I have a feeling, especially when our club starts getting full again, because we had a little rumbling earlier and all it took was one little note in the mud times and things are all smoothed out. but that we, again, make sure we respect everybody's differences, doesn't matter if it's what they are, but political is one of the hot buttons, and so I will be reading my little spiel again about everybody showing respect. If you find the need to talk about one of those topics that we hit on, take it outside the club. None of it's allowed inside rec center buildings, and you can just take it outside the club or just drop it. So I will go over that again at the membership meeting in more detail then. Okay, does anybody have anything else that they'd like to add? Any concerns about monitoring anything? You know what, we just kind of bypassed you.
I know.
Why didn't you
We
just tell
kinda
me?
hit and miss.
We
yeah.
did, but no.
I think I'll talk to Lori about the training and, try to get some set rules for, people
Training
not backing out at the last minute and, you'll get with Linda Connell on,
I will get
system
with her to
on-
see if we can figure out, if
Yeah.
we can put a trigger in there that says, hey, you can't do this.
Yeah.
It's within 2 weeks, you need to find a replacement, call, get your replacement and call.
and part of
get
that
it
is a
fixed.
training too, to know not to just leave us hanging.
I
I know,
apologize.
we have had a lot of dates, so.
For some reason, I was thinking Deb was handling everything,
Oh.
but I apologize.
Wear another hat.
No, what's
Look
one
at
more?
her. Juggling.
Juggling, yeah.
Anything else?
No.
I have one thing.
Yeah.
I wanna thank this board for doing such a great job. I don't know how many people thank you, but I thank you, and that's very much appreciated, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I agree, thank you.
Okay, with that said, make sure I didn't miss anything else. No new business, I think we've covered everything else other than what Mike just mentioned, and Donna, that's, just basically policies and that kind of thing. So I'd like to adjourn the meeting.
Make a motion? I make a motion to adjourn?
Motion? Okay, adjourn.